couple of years ago, I found myself buckling under with the stresses of the 21st century. A lot of bad things had happened in that decade, and I needed some kind of release. So I came up with this idea that one Sunday a month, I'll go into my recording studio and I will play all the instruments and sing all the parts to a song from the 1980s, which I had been missing desperately. It had to be a song that had an emotional thread between then and now, still pulling me back and forth. I wanted it to sound exactly like the radio. I want to play all the instruments. I want to sing all the parts. I wanted to do all of the recording, and I wanted to do all of the filming and editing myself. And this is my Sunday Jam. Welcome back to my Sunday Jam project. It's been 15 months since I've done my last one. It's been a very long year of COVID and shoulder problems and groin problems and knee problems and more sickness and more COVID. But I'm finally back. And thank you for indulging me in my favorite song from the 1980s. I would call this my favorite mid-tempo, up-tempo song of the 1980s. My favorite ballad is Holding Back the Years from Simply Red. That I might do next year. My brother-in-law actually plays trumpet, so I might have him come in and play muted trumpet for that, if I can pull off the vocals for that. Anyways, this is also one of my favorite music videos. If you've ever seen the original Phil Collins music video, it was actually shot in the summer of 1985 while he was on tour of the world. So if you watch the video, he's singing through the whole song, but one part he's in Russia, and then he's in San Francisco, and then he's in China, and then he's on the beach, and then he's in the snow. And as somebody that's filmed 442 music videos and had my camera on airplanes and cars and trains and I think even a dog once, it's just my favorite music video. I wish I could do something like that. So over these last 15 months, I remember a friend said to me, he's like, dude, what's up with all the neon guitars? And I was like, my stock answer is, well, that's my happy place. But over these 15 months, I started thinking, and I'm like, why? Why is that my happy place? Why are the 1980s my happy place? Why am I doing this project? So I put a lot of thought into it and came up with some answers. And what I thought I would do is sort of take you through what the 1980s were for me and what I figured out why they're my happy place. I will say that the 1970s were my first 10 years on this planet, and they were absolutely magical and a perfect decade. And I sometimes wonder why that's not my happy place. Although sometimes it is, when we're grilling out or having dinner at night or whatever. Those songs are always there. I'm always watching Charlie's Angels and McLeod and whatever else. But the 1980s are the place that I go to when I'm trying to escape the 21st century, which I'm not really that fond of. The 1980s started for me Christmas of 1979, actually. All of the people in my family drank, and I just figured that as a 10-year-old, that was a normal thing. Didn't know anything about being drunk or anything like that with alcohol. They just all drank all the time. So it was Christmas of 1979 where my dad was just really nasty. He was drunk, and we were opening presents. And I don't know if you've ever opened a present and had someone be nasty to you that felt like you weren't being appreciative enough. It's an awful feeling. And that was sort of the beginning of his downturn with alcohol, at least that I noticed. And that was the beginning of the 1980s for me. By the fall of 1980, I was in 6th grade, and the two older kids in 8th grade decided they were going to spend their year bullying me. And then they got the whole entire bus into it. And we had a bus driver that didn't do anything about it. So I spent my entire 6th grade year walking home from the bus crying every day because an entire busload of kids said that they were going to kick my ass. It's kind of one thing when it's one person. It's another when it's a bunch of older kids. June of 82, Nana died. That was my great-grandmother. And we spent 2 weeks every year in Mattituck at her house. And That was as close to magic as I've ever known in this life. And she was gone, and my grandmother and her brother just wanted the money, so they sold the house. So it was all gone in June of '82. Around that time, my dad opened a toy store in Marshfield. And so my parents were working 7 days a week, sometimes 12 hours a day. So we were the original latchkey kids. And they were just tired and cranky and half in the bag. So at this point, between being bullied and being bullied at home by somebody that told me I was either stupid or an asshole for years, the '80s were not going well. If you fast forward to January of 1987, by this point I was completely pissed off and depressed. June of '87, we graduated high school, and I did not get a diploma. I walked across and got my diploma, and it was blank. I had to go to summer school because I didn't really go to school. I skipped it all the time and didn't do anything. So I had to go for English for, I think, a month or two in that summer. And then that same month, my mother's mother died. And then going forward to September of '87, I had such low self-esteem that I got a job at Stop and Shop in Pembroke bagging groceries, which I was kind of surprised that I was good enough for. And it's the weirdest feeling when you get out of high school. You're surrounded by people your own age for 12 years, and you know everybody, and there's just kind of a constant chaos to it that you're used to, and then suddenly everyone is gone. They all went to college, and suddenly it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and you're standing outside collecting carts in Pembroke at Stop and Shop, and everyone you know is gone, and everyone you work with is twice your age and crabby. And you've got nowhere to go because you blew it. It's too late to really go to college, or if you're going to go to college, it's really going to be a lot of work to make that happen. At this point, my dad went into rehab for drinking. He was just lying on the couch one day asleep, and they came and took him away. And then at this point, my high school sweetheart, who I really wasn't very nice to my senior year of high school because all of this was sort of imploding, she went off to college, Providence College, and left me behind, and that was it. So suddenly I was just free falling. The present that I asked my parents for graduating was a PV Butcher Stack, which is a giant amplifier, 6 feet tall. And it cost a lot of money, and I ended up trading it in for some guitar effects unit a year later, which was just July of '88. I decided I really need to buy a Pontiac Fiero, so I talked my parents into co-signing a loan for that. A year later, it would be repossessed. At this point, I was working the overnight shift at Christmas Tree Shop in Pembroke from 10 at night to 6 in the morning for very little money. And then at some point, my friend Steve Cheeseman got us both jobs as laborers. I think it was January of '89, working outside for a construction company that was putting together those condos across from Situate Golf Club. So you can imagine 6 months of working in the snow outside all day, moving wood. This was my 1980s. So why would that possibly be my happy place? The good things, I would say the summer of 1986 was, before I met my wife, it was the peak of my life. From April 1st to September 1st was my first girlfriend, my first car, my first band, my first job. It was pretty awesome. I would say having the Barnes family across the street from us on Holly Road, I was best friends with Tommy, and Sue was best friends with Tracy. Tommy got an Atari the Christmas of 1980, and we had sleepovers and went down to the little store in Hummerock and bought bags of filled with candy, and we're listening to WCOZ and playing Atari at 2 o'clock in the morning. That was pretty awesome. But pretty much that's as far as that goes in terms of good things of the 1980s. So, what is it about the 1980s that I keep coming back to? What I've learned is there's your life and how your life is going, and then there's the outside world and how that's going. So, in the 70s, both of those things were happening for me. I was having a great life as a kid. Outside world was awesome. In the 1990s, neither one of those things were happening for me. My life sucked, and I hated the outside world. I hated the fashion and the movies and the politics and everything else. In the 1980s, my life wasn't going that great, but I loved everything around me. The movies, the TV, the songs on the radio, the fashion, the hair, the neon colors. I loved all that stuff, man. And there was a lot less technology. There was just enough technology that you could tape something off the TV to rewatch it, or you could make a mixtape with your favorite songs. But there wasn't the internet and iPhones and texting and TikTok and constant distraction. So you lived in the moment, you lived in the world. It was fun. The 1980s were really fun, and since there was so little stuff, I mean, there was 4 channels on television, so everybody watched the same shows, we watched the same movies, we listened to the same music, and you had sort of a shared experience with everyone around you. Aside from the fact that I love 80s rock guitar, I love 80s synthesizers. I watched The Sure Thing, a movie with John Cusack and Daphne Zuniga. Daphne Zuniga, try saying that 10 times fast. And he was out in a field playing football with a bunch of kids, and he's wearing jeans and a rugby and with his hair feathered, and I was like, that was me. I love that. I miss that. They were simpler times, but not simpler because you were 17 and didn't have any responsibility. They were simpler because there was less technology. Here in the 21st century, it's too much technology. It's too much distraction. It's making people into bitchy zombies. The politics today is just dumb and dumber. Whatever side you're on, it's dumb and dumber. The best political advice that you'll ever get, I'll give to you right now. Who's ever in politics, they are not here for you. They're not your friend. They will never be here for you. It's about power and probably money. But that's how life has been for the last 65 million years on this planet. And that's how it will always be. But it's bitchy and angry and ugly. 21st century is school shootings and all kinds of crazy murder shit. The entertainment sucks. Last summer, the biggest song was a song from 1985 from Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill. The biggest streamed show of last year was Stranger Things, show set in the 1980s. The biggest movie from last summer was Top Gun 2 from 1986. Show me something now that matches the 1980s in entertainment. I just... what I will say on top of all that, though, is as much as I hate the outside world now, personally, I found the girl of my dreams and the woman that I would marry 4 years ago, and it felt like winning the lottery. And I became a dad to 2 mostly wonderful kids who are watching the camera for me right now. And we got a house, and we got a crazy dog and a crazy bunny, and that aspect of my life is perfect. Unfortunately, music petered out, and I'm cleaning toilets and filling bags of fertilizer and delivering packages. But it's the surroundings that I don't like, and it was the surroundings in the 1980s that I keep going back to. So, thanks for listening to my crazy rant. 4 years ago, I did one of these videos for the first time for my 50th birthday, and I like that month of February where I'm going to do one of these and sort of put myself out there so that you actually know me a little better. This is a very personal project. This isn't Michael Carroll Sings the Hits of the 80s. And if you're watching this on Facebook or whatever, it's because I want you to. I don't want this shared. I'm not posting this on pages or sites or whatever. So I just wanted you to maybe know me a little better and why I do this crazy project and why I love that time. So what's coming up next? Next month, I'm going to do a song from a new wave trio that in 1986 hooked up with two of the biggest record producers on the planet and made an R&B ballad. It's strange. Yes, I know. Also, what I'm thinking ahead for next year, I always think of each year as a season, so January to January. So I'm thinking next year I would like to do the biggest songs of my generation that I'm sort of proud to say are ours, and I would like to tackle a lot of those songs. A lot of those songs, the singing is really high. So, for instance, Boys of Summer from Don Henley, that's our generation. Those are our songs, really high. Even Don Henley doesn't sing it in the original key that he originally did it in, and I need to do it in the original key, so that's going to be challenging. But that's what's coming up. So again, thanks for checking out my stuff. I'm hoping to really revamp this project over the year. As I started after 15 months, the card in my camera was faulty. The glowing lights that I have around me were broken. I didn't have any photography lights for my face. I sold my GoPro camera. I was like, but I was going to do this anyways, hell or high water. So I'm hoping to really take this project up a notch this year because I love it. I felt lost without it all year. So I'm happy to be back, and we'll see you guys next month.
Wow. Did you actually just do that? What was that?
I don't know.